Everyone thinks Bitcoin is just digital money, something you buy, trade, maybe get rich from, but governments don't see it that way. They see a system they can't fully control, a financial weapon, hiding in plain sight. And if you think this is just about money, you've already lost the bigger picture. Because this isn't a trend, it's a silent war. And it's already changing your life, whether you realize it or not. Picture this, a world where you don't need a bank. No approvals, no delays, no frozen accounts. Just you and your money. You can send it anywhere in minutes, across borders, across systems. No one can stop it. Sounds like freedom, right? Well, not if you're in charge of the system, because for decades, governments and banks controlled how money moves. They could print it, slow it down, freeze it, track it, and most people never questioned it, because that's just how money worked. Until suddenly, it didn't. And even economists, who usually argue about everything, started agreeing on one thing. Something big had just changed, and no one knew how to stop it. The official story? Bitcoin is risky, too volatile, too unstable, too dangerous for everyday people. And to be fair, they're not completely wrong. Bitcoin's price swings are wild. One day you feel like a genius. The next day you question all your life decisions. It's unpredictable. But here's the thing. Risk isn't new. Stock markets crash, banks fail, currencies collapse. We've seen it before, again and again, from the Great Depression to the 2008 financial crisis. The system has never been perfectly safe. So why is Bitcoin treated differently? Why does it trigger so much fear? Because risk isn't the real problem. Control is. Because here's the part they don't want to admit. Bitcoin removes the middleman. No central bank. No authority. No one adjusting the rules mid-game. And that breaks the system. Because modern economies rely on control. Governments manage inflation, set interest rates, inject money during crises. They don't just watch the economy, they actively shape it. Now imagine a currency they can't control. They can't print more of it. They can't freeze it easily. They can't fully track it. That's not just inconvenient. That's dangerous, at least from their perspective, because if people move away from traditional systems, governments lose influence, banks lose power, and the entire structure starts to shift. Bitcoin didn't ask for permission. It just appeared. After the 2008 crisis, when trust in banks was collapsing, someone, or a group, under the name Satoshi Nakamoto, introduced a system built on code instead of trust. No central authority, just mathematics. And that idea spread faster than anyone expected. At first, people ignored it. Then they laughed at it. Then they fought it. And now, they're trying to control it. But the craziest part is what happened next. Bitcoin didn't stay small. It exploded. Early adopters made fortunes. New investors rushed in. Prices skyrocketed. Then crashed. Then rose again. A cycle of hype and fear, over and over. And with every cycle, something changed. More people started paying attention. Institutions got involved. Corporations began investing. Even countries started experimenting with it. At the same time, governments pushed back. Some banned it. Some restricted it. Some tried to regulate it into submission. But Bitcoin had one advantage. It wasn't centralized. You can shut down a company. You can't shut down a global network. So instead of killing it, they had to adapt. And while all this was happening, ordinary people were caught in the middle. Some became millionaires overnight. Others lost everything chasing the hype. And critics started calling it a bubble. Supporters called it the future. But underneath all the noise, a deeper conflict was growing. This wasn't just about profit anymore. It was about who controls money itself. This was the turning point. When governments realized they weren't just competing with other countries anymore. They were competing with an idea, a decentralized system that didn't need them. And that's when the strategy changed. If you can't destroy it, you build your own version of it. But here's the part most people completely miss. Because Bitcoin didn't just create a new currency. It forced governments to evolve. Now we're seeing the rise of digital currencies backed by governments. Faster payments, more tracking, more control. The system didn't collapse. It adapted. But here's the twist. Bitcoin changed how people think about money. For the first time, millions of people started asking questions. Who controls my money? Why can it lose value? Why can access be restricted? That shift in mindset, might be more powerful than Bitcoin itself. Because once people question the system, they don't forget. This was never just about currency. It was about power, control versus freedom, trust versus code. Because finance isn't just numbers. It's human behavior, fear, and control, disguised as money. And this battle, it's far from over. Because if Bitcoin was just the beginning, what comes next might change everything.